You're listening to a hockey podcast where we talk about ice hockey and stuff. Yeah. Woo.
Hello everyone, we're back. We've made a second episode. Yay! This is where everyone claps. Thank you. Yeah, so welcome back. I'm Molly.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chanel. And you know what this is? This is a hockey podcast. And we're going to talk about hockey. I mean, we're probably just going to go into the news of the week, I suppose, right?
Yeah, we did the predictions last week, and now we're carrying on like a normal podcast. So you obviously have the predictions, what we think of each team, and now we'll see how they turn out throughout the year on a week-to-week basis, I suppose.
Although I do think I'm already doing a good job there, but it's another conversation.
Oh, I feel vindicated with my Toronto pick.
I mean, I don't know why I put Habs so low, but you know.
Listen, the uproar.
We live with our decisions.
I hope not.
I don't hate Quebec. Please don't come at me.
I'm Quebec right now.
I'm just gonna like open my door one day and there's gonna be a little Quebec man just being like, "Our tabernacle, the are based."
Don't. Okay. A little Quebec man. All right, like where do you guys want to start?
All right.
Let's just insult all the short Quebec men.
I mean, that was a pretty strong start
good
right
start.
there.
Yes. So
By the way, I would like to point out that Molly is not a horse, and I did not say she was a horse. This is why we're going to do a let's get to know us, because Molly likes horses and owns horses, yeah? Because you never know. People will take it and run with it.
your takeaway is not hockey, it's that I'm a horse. Nay. I'm actually just several horses in a trench coat.
Yeah, I saw some wild statements on Twitter after that one. I was like, oh, that's your takeaway. All right.
Let's talk about news. What do you want to talk about first?
I've made some
Perfect.
points.
Done.
Yeah, I wrote down the games which I think are notable. There are a few. I'm starting off with that
Yeah, there are a few.
Leaf Nip game, Toronto and Vancouver on the 4th of February. Should I recap?
Yeah, recap.
Yeah,
Recap for
Toronto
us.
storming ahead there, 7-3. Yeah, so you got a beautiful hat trick from Daddy Spezza.
Listen,
Couple goals there from Matthews.
almost another Hattie. We could have just shared the points all around,
Yeah,
And the people that are like, I actually saw some people saying Spezza can't do that every night, and I said, shut your little mouth hole, because you don't know, because Spezza's bae. So
take some risky shots.
suck
He does take some
on
risky
that.
shots. To be fair, I've seen him just like halfway down. He's like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
have
slap that
noticed.
bitch. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work his way.
No, that is true. I mean, I have noticed he shoots in the same spot.
There was the second goal that he scored.
Beautiful. And they are all similar, really. I mean, because, I watch all the
Yeah.
Leafs games, and he seems to shoot in that same area, and it just works out for him. I hope other teams don't catch on, so if you're listening to this, don't pay attention to me.
But we're not talking about Leaf tactics, honest. All right, should we move on to another game? I put down something for Jeremy.
Yeah, so the day after, on the 5th, it was San Jose against Anaheim, 5-4 Sharks. I'll be honest, I'm not being too happy about a shootout win against the Ducks. I mean, the Ducks threw it away as much as San Jose won it. That defense was just giving the giveaways to anyone who wanted it. Just wide open at the end, like letting the Sharks come back. And we won a shootout that anyone can win, really. And I'm just like, good for us. Yay, 2 points. Ha ha, that was funny
Not a
when we could
satisfying
win
win for you.
consistently. So yeah, it wasn't taking too much of a victory lap after that one. So yeah, that was a 5-4 victory on the 5th.
Yeah, and they went right back to the shootout their next game, I believe. When
Yeah, so that was on the 6th, I believe. Yeah, on the 6th.
not as lucky.
Yeah, I thought it was yesterday, so leave me alone. So yeah, 2-1 to the Ducks. So we're proving we can lose a shootout to Isaac
Cool.
Lundestrom for the Ducks. That was a wild first goal of his NHL career. Just standing right in front of the goal, right off the shaft of his stick. I mean, it's going to go in some way. May as well get it in like that.
Nice.
So congrats to him for his first NHL goal. Sharks lose a bit of a nothing game of a shootout. So back to your Sharks update for the week.
Yay, Sharks.
Nice.
Colorado haven't been playing because of the virus, that thing. Colorado.
And that's quite newsworthy, if you
Yeah.
ask me. There's a lot of stuff going on with the COVID, that's for sure.
I'm not angry because McKinnon having a little injury there, then COVID comes around. I'm not saying it's a good coinky dink, but also please, baby, heal.
Just heal.
Just heal, please.
Oh, yes.
We need you.
Speaking of injuries, Leafs fans knows that Simmons has a broken wrist and he will be out for 6 weeks. So that's terrible,
Which is
especially after it's very sad. The last game on Saturday, he had 2 goals. And he's just been really good for the Leafs. He's really good. I love it.
He was just picked up off free agency in October.
Mm-hmm.
After
It's
like
like
a string of just nothingness, and he seems to have just clicked with the Leaves, and it's nice to see an NHL player who's been like handed around a load of teams and then suddenly getting like a break, like a couple of goals in a game, you know?
Oh yeah, he was resparked, Same with Spezza. I just think that the Leafs are finding ways to win, and maybe that way is to get a lot of leadership on the ice, a lot of seasoned players. We working. And interesting, this just broke now, and I don't know if you guys know about Sandine Rasmus. Have you heard about him? Guess if you're not a Leafs fan, you won't. Well, Sandine is our defenseman, our rookie defenseman that we really have a lot of faith in, and he has not played yet, but today he is making his season debut. I can't wait to see what he does.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to him.
That's pretty much it for the Leafs. I will say we're rocking. That's pretty much it for the Leafs. I will say we're doing pretty well. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah.
I can't be mad, really.
That's good. In terms of your predictions, Chanel, a few of the games last week really did solidify your picks.
Penguins.
That the Penguins Islanders game on the 6th there, it really showed the holes in the Penguins defense.
They need defensemen. That's what I was saying. They need it.
Their offense is so tight that when the Islanders came through with their offense, it was like, oh, now what you're gonna do, right?
Yeah.
Also, another point was Philly decimating the Caps there.
What? Oh, JVR is my boy.
You know, we said that Caps were number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. JVR. Oh.
I would like to say I noted that Washington was less of a lock this year, but I had to be proven wrong. So if that's the showing their true colours, then maybe there's a bit of a roxy-turvy time at the top of the Eastern right there. So fingers crossed, because that'll be a lot more interesting.
So.
But yeah, Philly definitely showing their
up,
quality right there.
Yeah, I put down a Kings and Knights game.
Okay, so I watched that game.
Yeah. So I was just moving on super quick. I put down a note with the Kings and Knights game. Nothing really exciting happened, just in the first few seconds they scored. Kopitar scored, whatever his name is. But then, I was watching the highlights of that game and I was just skipping through it because honestly, I didn't care. There was no interest in that.
I thought it was. I don't know. I like.
There's no razzle dazzle.
I thought there was all the dazzle razzle.
It's not as exciting to watch.
Well, to each their own.
That just might be me with my opinions, but
well. I mean, I think the King, not the Kings.
Can we talk about Dallas? I know Jeremy wants to. I'm going to let Jeremy out his cage on the jersey issue here.
Just what are they doing with those jerseys? They do not belong to the ice. They're streetwear. They're not a proper ice hockey jersey. The neon green does not belong on the Dallas Stars, like any of their bodies. Get them out. That's awful. What are they doing with the reverse retro? No, I don't know. It's just so bad. Just everything about it is so bad.
Are you okay?
I'm not okay. It hurts. It hurts to watch. It's like you see the press release before the season and you go like, oh, they're all right. It's a bit non-traditional, but, you know, I personally think that's a good thing. I think hockey needs to step out a bit. But as soon as you see them on the ice, it is painful to watch, especially in comparison to the Chicago jersey. Obviously, an all-timer. You just go, what are the designers going for there? What are you doing? What do you think you're doing? And yeah, I've got a lot more opinions when we do a jersey special. But yeah, I want it known that they do not belong on an ice hockey rink.
It's a borderline whiteout jersey, eh?
We don't like it.
The most important news probably of the week was the Blue Jackets in the Canes game. Did you hear about that?
Yes, you got 200th goal there, right? Or is it game? 200th game or goal? 200th goal?
200th goal.
200th goal from...
So Nick Foligno gets his 200th goal. That's pretty amazing. Good job there. But obviously Carolina shown off for strength. As Molly says here, good, strong power play. Have to say Lane showing his amazing scoring ability there. And yeah, just a good showing all around, I would say.
Then you might have missed it then. It's a big news. The game was 3-2. Trocheck gets a goal. And now it's 3-3. Tortellini says, it looks offside. They review it. They keep it onside. Blue Jackets get their penalty. And literally, this is the weird part, okay, guys? 1 minute and 15 seconds into the game, the refs go to talk to Tortellina in the tunnel to say, oopsie, we were wrong. It was offside.
Tortilla.
It was Tortellini. The penalty was reversed, but the score stays 3-3, and then the Canes win.
Not ideal.
Line A is big mad. Line A was like, listen, this is the biggest joke I have ever seen. Have you ever heard of
I'm still trying to process
that
one.
before?
That doesn't quite make sense when you say it out loud.
I've only seen that penalty situation in football, like soccer, British football, because they're all prissy players.
I've never seen it.
And I will fight people on that. It's boring. It's a waste of 90 minutes. There's no fights, people dive, and it's boring. I will fight people on this. Like
for soccer? Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I believe you. I'm on your side.
So am I. This is an anti-soccer podcast over here. It's fine.
No. I have like this, I've had a knee injury before because of soccer, so I just don't like soccer anymore. It's like PTSD for me. Yeah, exactly. We'll stick with hockey. Oh my gosh.
Gloves off, mate. Need more blood.
That's it really for the news. I mean, there was a lot that happened. It was just more so the games that were hot and popping, right? I mean,
I did like the Caps Philly commentary. Just, that's hockey, baby.
What about the I mean, you guys you don't watch the Canadian division much, right? You do?
I do.
It is, obviously. I mean,
I live in Canada.
It is so fun. The Canadian division has been very fun, very high scoring. It is boring kind of though to watch the same team over and I mean, we're going to play the Nucks again tonight, 3 days in a row. I don't know, but it's been fun regardless.
I feel that watching the same teams play each other again and again, it's a good adjustment to see if the team is adjusting to playing that team or if they're just being like, well, we walked over them last time. We'll just keep it the same, but not expecting, I don't know, Nooks to change their lineup.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see how they counteract each other's plays. It's definitely more of a strategy-based game in that sense, rather than just being like, well, we're going to another team.
No, I agree with that.
So it's kind of changed. It's changed the whole divisional of how it's played. It's more like baseball now, and I don't know if I like it or not.
You
but
learn about your
we'll see.
opponents more, which could be scary.
Definitely challenges for coaches more than
Because
the
you watch their
players
eyes.
in that division, I would say.
Does it ever? I
Yeah.
cannot believe the faces I have seen on the bench this past month.
Oh my days. You see, like, when there's a team that's just being walked over and the coach you just see and they just kind of like have their head down, you just can't see their face or anything, even behind the mask, you're like,
Big man.
oh, they're having a bad time.
And with refs, guys, that's actually another thing, another hot conversation people are talking about. The refs are really weird this season, guys. Not like your average fan complaining, just like everyone, including players, being like, this is the National Hockey League. Why are you penalizing me for blinking? I don't get it.
Are they new refs? Is
No.
it the same old
Same
refs?
old
I've
refs.
never really looked into refs for ice hockey. That's my weak point, is not knowing the refs.
Yeah, I'd say me too. I know one, and he hates the Leafs, but
That's why you know him.
I'm biased. So, but yeah,
But would
that's
that be
pretty
something
much
people would
it.
be interested in? If
Refs?
like, listeners were like, hey, we actually want to know more about the actual refs, because I'd
Guys.
be willing to look into that.
If you're interested in the refs, let us know, and we'll do our research. Okay?
Could be a new team. The refs.
The team refs. I slot them in right now in the 32 until Seattle comes, and then there'll be 33.
Grazing ref
Okay.
crews each week.
I agree with that.
Okay, that's pretty much it for the news, right? Do you guys have anything else?
Do we talk about mascots here? Because Gritty's up to his mess again.
Gritty, good old Gritty. Do we like Gritty?
I'm kind of scared of him.
I'm scared of him too.
I get uncomfy.
What is he? Is he a cheese
Yeah.
puff?
You get uncomfy? Yeah, same. I don't know what he is.
I like his energy.
Yeah.
He's kind of chaotic, neutral.
Yeah. But he can throw in a couple of insults here and there.
I respect his Twitter game, but
He's beautiful.
Him
real
jumping
life,
into
I'm like,
pulpits.
I don't know how I feel about
The
this.
whole this strange naked painting.
I miss this. Please
That was the
explain.
thing. During one of the games, the Gritty basically just stripped off, so it was just kind of like the cheese puff of Gritty, and was like lying like, paint me like one of these French girls, and they had a live painter painting him.
a cheesy poof, paint me.
But he still had his hockey helmet on, so it's just like, dude, what? I'm so confused. Like,
He should be in the 80s. Like, he looks straight up from the 80s.
I don't know if they're gonna have all-star mascots anytime
Well, I
soon,
mean,
but like, he's gonna win everything. Everyone else is gonna look at him.
haven't you heard of the mascot game?
I
I
love the
cannot.
mascot game. I love it so
They
much.
should televise that stuff. Are you kidding me?
Oh
the
my
whole
days,
game.
I would live for that.
Oh, but they can't even
Yes.
see, and they're slipping and sliding. It's just hilarious. I love it. I'm a sucker for that kind of humor.
100%. It's hockey light.
Now,
Okay, that is all my news. All my news.
Molly is the news queen today, guys. She's got it all. She's got it all. A couple people were wondering a little bit about us from our last podcast. Obviously, like we said, it was a big subject, so we couldn't really talk about ourselves. So maybe we'll just get into that a little bit. Like, a lot of people are curious specifically about you, Jeremy, and you, Molly. How did you guys start getting into hockey? You're from the UK. Tell us.
The Ook.
The ook. The ook ook.
The Ook. United Kingdom. I actually wrote like an
No.
essay. So okay, it might get a bit sad.
Go for it. We're all here for it.
It's gonna
This
get
is a
bit
personal
sad.
podcast, okay?
Hockey and Me. An essay by Molly. So I used to watch a lot of hockey as a teenager. Yeah, I used to watch a lot of hockey as a teenager. I didn't go to school because I was sick, so I got bored of watching movies and TV shows and doing schoolwork, so I ended up watching a lot of sports, and a lot of sports included the Swedish hockey games, like the Swedish Hockey League and Continental Hockey League, so KHL. I mainly watch like the Tarasov division, if anyone knows what that is. It's like Latvia, Belarus, Moscow. They got all the Dynamo teams in there. And at that point in my life, I had an affinity for like Riga Dynamo. So I like supported them for a bit. Not the best team, but that's how it is. So if anyone knows the difference between KHL and NHL, there's a huge difference. It's kind of like the clean European version of hockey. There's not many fights. There's not many checks. And everyone seems to wave flags and they don't drink and watch hockey. It's very strange. But, that's just how it be. And then when I got to university, I stopped sleeping because who needs sleep? And that's when NHL was on. So I started watching the NHL. Yeah. And, I like Scandinavian people being, European female. So I chose the team at the time who had the most pretty looking Swedes on it, which was
Abs.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not support a team?
I knew you were going to say that. That's exactly who I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. That, and also just the whole personality of the team, I kind of like vibed with, like on the Twitterverse, on the Facebookverse and everything. Their kind of marketing game was kind of like my dealio at the time. So it was kind of like a win-win for me. On to the sad bit of university, I guess. At university, I had a really good friend. We used to watch a lot of the Avalanche games, a lot of hockey games together in like my end of my first year, second year, and a bit of my third year. And he was a Wild fan. So of course, if you are an Avalanche fan, there's a bit of rivalry between those two teams. Unfortunately, he died last year, and it's been very tragic dealing with that. So it's hard to think about hockey without him. So I just want to have a shout out to dear friend Colt there and his family and all Wild fans out there, that you've missed a bright star. And I'm sure he's up there cheering on the Wild at the moment, which is why they're doing a lot better than I thought they would this year. So we'll have a beer for him tonight,
yes,
right, guys?
Absolutely. Pour one out for
Colt there.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing with me as well, Colt. Yeah. Now on to the non-sad bit. I took Chanel to her first hockey game.
She did. She was my first date to a hockey game. Yeah. It was lovely.
It wasn't a season game. It was a preseason game.
It was a season, and I still didn't get to see Anderson. Who was in net? Like, I forget. Oh my god.
Yeah. Really showing her the high life.
That is pretty
right
cool.
there.
We shared that moment.
Yeah, I showed her the high life in the nosebleeds.
Except for the Canes game.
2 hours out of Ottawa. Oh,
we'll talk about that later, guys.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. So that's my hockey story. Again, big shout out to Colt there. He changed my life in terms of hockey. So
beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you again for sharing.
Jeremy!
So yeah, I was introduced to American football originally in about 2006 or so. My mum and dad met on a cruise ship and they kept on stopping off in Miami. So they always saw the Dolphins. And this is a roundabout way of saying he got me Madden 05 on the GameCube. But at the same time, NHL 05 was right next to it. So he was like, why not get both of them? And so we did. And that was my first introduction to both American football and the NHL. But at the same time, my brother was also playing ice hockey for the two local teams, for Guildford Flames and Bracknell Bees. So as a family, we were already quite into the ice hockey as a general culture almost. But obviously I was a bit too young at that point because I'm the youngest by a minimum of 10 years in my family. So I was unaware of what was going around and stuff like that. So I was just loading up NHL 05 on the GameCube, and I had an awful controller that was stuck on down position all the time. Back then, the first thing that popped up was select your favourite team. And same thing that happened with Tampa Bay for the NFL. It was stuck going down and down and down, rotating between all the teams. So I just randomly selected A. And it wasn't San Jose, it was actually the New Jersey Devils originally. So I was a Devils supporter for about a year or two. Or supporter, like quotation marks. Like, I had no idea what was going on. I was like, oh, they're a good red team. I like their uniform, which is where the whole fascination with hockey uniforms comes from, I think. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's this team with a shark in it. And so I just swapped teams because they had a shark, their logo. And obviously, I didn't know anything about geography or just any location. So I was like, I should be a Lightning supporter by all metrics. But no, I support San Jose in the West and Tampa Bay in the East. And absolutely no crossover whatsoever. So that's how I got into hockey. It was from my brother playing for the local teams and my dad's just randomly picking up NHL 05. If someone could explain that to me, that would be great. Let alone me explaining to you. So obviously I carried on sort of playing the games and all that kind of stuff. With England, there's obviously an awful time difference. So even now I struggle to keep up with the games all the time. But when I got to uni or university, college, whatever you want to call it, in 2013, I joined the American football team as I'd already been playing for 2 years. But I was also the sort of weird ice hockey fan in the group that I couldn't talk to anyone about. And then on a random night out, I saw this girl in an Avalanche jersey and I was like, oi, you, Avs! And that just happened to be Molly. And we've been best friends ever since, I would say. So that's how I got to watch more ice hockey at uni, because I had someone to watch it for. How I met one of my best friends. How I'm into ice hockey. And now we're here doing a podcast about it. And in 2017, when I was meant to be doing my master's dissertation, I was like, nah, screw it. I'm going to go to Minnesota for a week to watch all the sports I can. Because one of my friends was going to university there at the time. So I went there. I went to Minnesota, saw college football on the Saturday, saw the Vikings play on the Sunday, and then during the week, I went to see my first ice hockey NHL games even. So I saw the Wild play the Nooks, the Canucks, and it was the most boring game you could ever want to see for your first NHL game. I got front row with seats right next to the glass. I think I was the row next to the penalty box. I was at the end of that row, so we could see everything going on there and stuff. And it was just so boring. Unbelievably, nothing happened. None of the players paid attention to you, when you banged on the glass. There were no interaction. And then Canucks scored. I think I can correct myself, but I'm not going to. Midway through the second period, I think. And that was the only goal throughout the whole game. Yeah, and there's about 2 penalties or something. It was so nothing happening. And yeah. But then I saw the Islanders play the Wild later that week as well. About something like 5-4 Wild in the end. And that was a much better game. But I was in the nosebleeds for that one instead of right at the glass. And that was I actually had way more fun up there because I could actually see the whole rink instead of you get obviously the hole next to the glass or people spilling Coke on me because they weren't prepared for someone being checked into us. That happens. I just looked at her going what are you doing? It's come on. But yeah, I would actually take the nosebleeds up in the whatever the stadium's called there, over the seats next to the glass. But that's my ice hockey story. There you go. Yeah,
I love it. You win some, you lose some too, you know?
Yeah, definitely with those tickets.
The first one, if it was your only hockey game, I'm wondering if you would have been as interested still.
If it was someone's first one and they didn't go back that week, I reckon they wouldn't have been an ice hockey fan. That was a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily, obviously, I'd already been introduced to ice hockey before, so I knew what was the deal sometimes.
You knew that it wasn't always
I was
this. Yeah.
I've been to some Guildford Flames matches. They're not good, but at least they're fun. I had that experience.
Yes.
So yeah, that's my story. Yeah.
It's lovely. I love both the stories very much. Mine's just your old traditional Canadian story, to be honest. I was just a fan of hockey out of the womb, really. Okay, so for me, like I said, I was a hockey fan my entire life. I grew up in a household of, well, my dad was a Leafs fan, is a Leafs fan still. My grandpa was a Boston Bruins fan. Oddly enough, that is kind of strange for our town, to be honest. And my uncle and his daughter, my cousin, are Habs fans. Or my uncle passed away, so he was a Habs fan. And it was just always a fun time whenever we were watching the hockey games, especially Habs versus Leafs, in the household. I'm pretty sure my dad and my uncle got into it a couple of times. And us kids are in the back like, anyways, hockey. And I was so young, I just remember whenever I visited my grandpa, my dad would actually take out the mattress, bring it into the living room, even if I had school the next day, guys. And he would let me watch the hockey game. I would fall asleep to all the hockey games, listening to Joe Bowen announce. And honestly, it's one of my favorite memories of all time in the history of ever. I loved growing up as a kid watching hockey. I actually had like a routine whenever I'd go visit my dad. He was in a different city, so I had to go visit him on the weekends. And whenever we would watch the game, right before the game, I'd go across the street and get my ice cream drumstick and come back and watch the hockey game. It was so fun all the time. I loved it. But yeah, that's just Canadian stuff, guys. That's just Canadian stuff. I unbelievably have found a bunch of Facebook statuses from ancient times of me talking about the Leafs. No one cares really, but I was obsessed. And not a lot of people knew that about me, which is interesting because it was a big part of my life. And I guess at the time, honestly, I thought women liking sports was odd. Like people thought that was weird. So I felt kind of embarrassed that I liked it, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. But now it's not the case. Now I'm proud. Listen, hockey girls, like your hockey boys and ignore everyone else, okay? And besides that, I would say, yeah, Molly said it for me, actually. She took me to my first hockey game. I know it took this long. It was, 2 years ago? I believe it was 2 years ago. Last season, though, open. No.
2018.
Yep. We watched
It was September 2018.
Mm-hmm. And we watched the Leafs game.
I was wearing my Avs jersey, and someone was like, "Hey, McKinnon, nice."
Nice. I remember she was in her Avs jersey. Not a single soul was rude to her, so I appreciate that because I'm not ready to pop someone in their face, But she wore the Avs jersey, and then we went to another game together, and that was a different story. Yep, we watched Canes.
Splashed out.
It was
Canes
fun.
and Sens.
Front row seats.
Although it did take a year to get out there.
It took forever. Yeah. I knitted an entire scarf on the bus, I'm pretty sure.
I booked a week off work.
Yeah, we did. We booked a week off of work to get to the stadium. We lost. The Canes lost. It was like 7-2 or something ridiculous like that.
Oh, I think it was 5-3.
Oh,
I've got it written down. Hold on.
Oh, you wrote it down.
Oh, it was even worse. It was 4-1.
Oh my God, what am I talking about? 7.
Because you wearing your Leafs jersey, me and my Avs jersey, we're just going like,
Canes! And a guy from across the room, remember, he points at me and he's like, I got a jersey, remember? I loved it, but
you're a Leaf. Oh my God, we're both Leafs.
It was amazing. And back to what Jeremy was saying about like the players not interacting, we did not have that experience. We had the opposite experience. Dezingle looked in my eyes, probably because I was wearing a Leafs jersey.
You saw that video?
We should find that video and post it because
we need to find it.
Because
I think you've already posted it.
Pretty sure I gotta find it.
Because there's you just like on the window, like on the glass, just like banging, going, "Oh my God, he looked in my eyes."
But this time it was Aho. He kept skating by me. He kept looking at me. Again, it must have been because I had a Leafs jersey. And he's like, "What the f are you doing?" But
these two girls not in jerseys.
Just freaking out too. There's kids next to me, guys. There's kids next to me, and I'm screaming and crying. I'm like on the ice, or like right next to the glass, pushed up, and I'm like, every time Aho skates by, I'm like in tears. He probably caught that and thought, what a weirdo, but let's make her happy. And he kept on like, doing his little, what do you call that? Like little fun stuff around me, and he threw the puck at me a couple times. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna get married. It was a great time. We loved it. It was good, right, Molly?
Oh, it was the best time.
She probably couldn't concentrate because she was laughing at me so much. God.
Hey, I had such a good time. Just like crying at Chanel because she's so good. She's so gosh darn good. And just having a good time because I'm a Canes fan as well. They're my second team. So we're just both there just like having a good time. We're like, oh my God, ice hockey players are real. Yeah. Drinking.
A former Leaf. Every time one would skate by. A former Leaf.
Oh, look, a former Leaf.
Anyways, that was pretty long, but we have to share it with you guys. You have to get to know us.
We do. Oh, we're ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous.
So much.
But yeah, hopefully we can all go to a game together at some point.
Oh, that would be awesome.
100%. I need to get out of this country.
Yes.
I would love to go see a Habs game.
A Habs?
Or a Habs game in Montreal.
Ooh.
Or go into... what's it called now?
Scotia.
Is it Air Canada Stadium still?
Scotiabank.
Scotia Arena.
We could do Leafs Habs.
A Leafs game. Leafs
That could be hot.
Habs.
Probably will end in OT. No OT.
And then
Showtime.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Shall we get to know each other a little bit more when it comes to players?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You say yeah? Well, then in that case, who wants to go first? I'm curious. Who is ready?
I think Jeremy should go
for these questions.
First. Why not?
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I agree. We're curious. Who is your favorite player on the San Jose Sharks?
So, not only is he my favorite player on the team, he is my favorite player of all time. He is the one and only Patrick Marleau, number 12 of the San Jose Sharks. So, obviously, he was the captain originally from 2003 to 2009. And going back to my story about the NHL 05 being sort of my introduction to ice hockey, for some reason, he must have been like the first guy I scored a goal with, or something along those lines. I just stuck with him ever since. As sad as that sounds, I was like, "That's my boy. That's a weird name. I love it. He's mine." So ever since then, he's been my go-to of the Sharks, and obviously name a category, and he's probably leading the Sharks all time in that one. Apart from obviously in the goal. I can't really explain it. He's just my guy. Everyone has like their attachment to their one person, and all of it, please. So yeah, that's my guy. He's the only guy I've got a proper, as in non-retro NHL jersey of, and it's from 2011. It's still got the anniversary patch, and I still rock that day today. So yeah, he's my guy.
I mean, how can you not like Patrick Marleau? Even I like Patrick Marleau. I don't care.
He's just such a sweet soul.
He is. Hasn't he won or?
He's like Lady Bing trophy.
Nominated for the Lady Bing.
Silly amount of times.
Oh my God.
Or maybe not, but he's always like in the running at least. And then I think he did
Absolutely.
He wasn't in the video, but his family did a video with the Bar Down guys from TSN on YouTube, and they were just going around their ODR outdoor rink that they got in their own house. And it just seems like it's just the sweetest video, and it's just the best family, and it's just like as a hockey clan, that's like, yeah, that's my favorite.
I mean, but you can't ignore that, like we already talked about this a little bit before, but he's gonna pass Gordie Howe, right? For the all-time
If he wasn't
games played.
going for that record, he would have retired by now. Yeah.
He would be retired. Yes, I absolutely can agree with that. I mean, I
was going to say, he's probably got, like, kids who could be on the NHL teams at this point.
I freaking hope so, guys. That would be so fun.
A hockey
He already. What are you talking about? He already does. That's Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner.
They are his children.
They literally are. They are the cutest little. He picked up something.
I was about to say,
from the
that
Leafs,
little
and it was
stint in
them.
Toronto he had, as much as it broke my heart to see him in a different jersey, it was like,
was
all right, I
cute.
can get behind this sort of bromance we got going on over there. So, yeah, I rate that.
But you know what? San Jose is his
He-
home, and he ends up
he
there
is
a
a
million
shark.
times.
Mate, they tried
Every
to trade
week
him away
he's
so many
traded there.
times and he still ends up back the next season.
I know. I actually forgot. I had to think for a second. I'm like, is he on the Penguins still?
He was.
Oh no,
Yeah,
he's
so
back with the Sharks.
He got
was.
sent over
Now he's
there
back.
and then came back the following season. And when he got bought, he was traded to Carolina from Toronto as well beforehand.
Yep.
Refused to play in Carolina or
Like
something happened there.
Jam.
Just ended up in San Jose. I was like, yeah, this sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it had to do with the Canes bought out his contract, and then when he was UFA, he was like, I'm out.
I ain't playing hockey anywhere else.
I'm done.
It's all because of the Leafs. They needed cap space. I think Canes got like
They
a
did,
first round draft pick. So
worth it.
sucks for us though.
Seems to be
First
doing all
round
right.
draft pick. Yeah, you know what? We're not too shabby.
Not
Not too
rebuilding
shabby.
anymore.
No. I will say this one, because I know a lot about Patrick Marleau, because again, I kind of love the guy. But the one thing that I thought was sad, because San Jose is his team, it's his life, He played his 1500 game with the Leafs. I thought he was gonna that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
That he didn't get to do that with his team, but it's still
he
a
got the
great
1000th
feat.
game with us, so we'll take that one. Yeah.
So at least that, give us something, because he made a big impact with us, I'll never forget that guy.
All right.
And he's going to break the record with the Sharks.
100%. We'll take that one.
Now, and what about a player on a different team, like not the Sharks? Any other team but not the Sharks?
I'm just throwing a quick shout out, honorable mention, whatever you want to say, because it feels a bit like cheating. But big old Jumbo Joe Thornton, again, a Toronto Maple Leaf. There seems to be a trend here of former Sharks going to the Leafs. But I thought I wanted to pick him, but I was like, this is barely a few games into not being a Shark, so it felt a bit cheap. But I just want to shout him out. Him and Marleau are boys. They're a package. They'll always be the Sharks together. But I just thought, shout him out right here. But for a proper quotation marks again pick for another team, I went with PK Subban. PK. I mean, I've got one note down here or two, but the biggest one is he's just a boy. He is a proper boy. He's a very good guy. I don't care what people say about him on the ice. I still think he's like one of the best defensemen. Yeah, I love what he does to try and bring outside views into hockey. So like he started his own YouTube channel, did his own podcast, all these kind of things. It's like pretty standard stuff maybe for what athletes are doing now, but it just seems like he's stepping out of the mold for hockey players to do it and actually trying to bring more views into it, because the NHL are probably the worst league when it comes to getting outside excitement into the league, like getting interest into it. Yeah, and it's just a bit painful, because you go, this is an amazing sport, why aren't more people watching it? And then you see what they do, like trying to ban GIFs on Twitter and all this kind of stuff because of copyright material, and it's just like almost no other league trying to grow would be concerned about that. Anyway, that's the point, and I just think PK Subban goes against all that, and I just really respect and rate him for it, and I just love to see what he does offering, if not as much as what he does offering.
I do have to insert myself here again, because you guys, honestly, you're picking all the people that I have seen, have watched, have loved. I remember we're going back into my history here. My cousin is in love with, she's a Habs fan, right? I cannot tell you, man, when PK was traded from the Habs, man, there was an uproar. I'm pretty sure my cousin cried. I'm pretty sure there were tears, guys.
As there should have been. He should. I don't understand it. I don't understand the perceived hate these organizations have of this man.
It's all about the contract negotiations, no agreeing, and I mean, I don't really know.
But yeah, he's just a great
Just an
guy.
uproar.
I think, yeah. I would follow him on whatever he
Agreed.
does after hockey.
So, Jeremy, now we've asked you the good ones. We're going to ask you a slightly controversial questiquo. That's a question in Molly language. And that is, on a team that you don't like, I'm not going to say the H word. It's a team that you don't like, right? A player that you respect on that team, right?
Right. So, because we're avoiding the H words, I couldn't select anyone on the Knights because that is an actual description of that H word that you guys want to avoid. And I do not respect any player on that team because they traded Paul Stastny out. I was going to pick him until he was no longer on that team. So I went to the Kings. Obviously, big history of the Sharks, massive playoff, all that rivalry history. But I have to say, I do respect Jonathan Quick, their goaltender, for everything he's done. So he was born in Milford, Connecticut, and I'm from Milford and Surrey. No connection, yet connection. I'm taking it. Come at me.
You really just take things and run
Exactly.
with it, eh?
Yeah.
Ooh, a shark.
Sharks. I
That's
like
why we play
sharks.
football.
This guy isn't a shark. He's a king.
I like sharks. Ooh.
So he obviously owns almost every LA Kings goaltender record, including losses, but that's what you get for being on a team since 2007. Yeah,
That
can't
loses,
blame him for
yeah.
that one. As much as I try to, you can't do it. But yeah, he's been a thorn in our side since forever that I can remember. But you know what? He's just really good. And I can't hate a man for being really good. And I respect the man. I can't say too much else because it still feels a bit wrong. But yeah, Jonathan Quick, I respect that man.
I have to insert myself here because I happen to know that there is a local deli that has a sandwich named the Quick Witch. I think it's in his hometown. And somewhere, I think Quick is from I want to say BC. No, US. It's from the US. He's from the US. So somewhere there.
Connecticut.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Connecticut, you just said that. So you did just say that. We got to go travel there and get the Quick
100%.
Witch.
The only reason to go to Connecticut.
Yeah, we're just going to leave
Love
that
that.
standing there.
Anyways, I agree with you.
That's with Visa Molly.
Thought it
and
was
Molly
an
only.
important piece of information. I love Jonathan Quick. I'm a goalie girl.
All right, Molly, your turn. Tell us your favourite player.
Oh boy. I think you can already guess who my favourite player on my favourite team is.
You've got to be McKinnon
Exactement.
right now.
It is, of course, the boy Nathan McKinnon, number 29 for the Avalanches.
A nice Nova Scotia boy.
Yeah. We do like a good Canadian boy. That sounds bad. We're going to roll with it. It's fine. So he was drafted in the same year that I started really watching the NHL and like choosing Avalanche. So I feel like I've grown with him, if that makes sense. It sounds really lame, but I kind of just feel like I've grown watching McKinnon grow. And like, yeah, I got one rookie card. I got one hockey rookie card, and that's McKinnon as well. So he's my boy. He's my jersey. The first Avalanche jersey I was bought as well was a McKinnon one, and that was Colt who bought me my first McKinnon merch as well. So fine, we're good. I also just like McKinnon has this bromance with Crosby, who's like his dad. I know they're only like 8 years.
Yeah, they stick their Timmies together.
They're like 8 years apart, so he's not actually his dad. But like their little bromance, they play golf together. They do the Timmy's ad together. I love it, man. And he's always an all-star. He's an all-star. So it makes it even better.
He is.
Yeah.
And you're right. He just keeps growing, this cat. This guy is insane.
Hey, didn't he break his leg a few years ago and he's got back like, nothing phases me? Like, oh my gosh, what are you made out of?
I'm good. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
And he's the goodest boy. He's the goodest boy.
Yes. Oh.
He actually won the Lady Bing.
He did. He's won didn't he win a rookie trophy as well?
The Calder?
Yeah,
he won the Calder. Making him the youngest player to win that trophy. The rookiest rookie.
And I'm older than him as well, so that's kind of like, oh god, that hurts.
Don't say that. I don't say that. I don't like that.
We're
Me
older
too.
than McKinnon. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so that's all I'm gonna say on McKinnon before I just go off on one. I mean, I could. It was a hard choice between McKinnon and Landskog, to be fair.
I am curious to see or to hear about who is your favorite player. Well, your other favorite player, just not on the Avs right now.
It's cheating. It's a cheating.
Even I didn't cheat.
Because it's. I'm sorry. It's Tyson Barrie. Oh, look, a former F.
Oh, look, a former Leaf.
So
you guys are making this really easy for me.
I'm sorry. Barry was on the Avs before he was a Leaf, and now he is an Oiler, and he's doing so well on the Oilers. I just feel like he's got in his groove. Well, I feel like he's got in his groove because he was a little bit, I feel, unsettled in Toronto. That's just personal opinion. But it was cute with his little trade to Toronto with Kadri, and they lived in each other's houses. Like, that was just adorable.
Yes. They just swap places. Like, anyways, here's my keys.
Yeah, and he's just a good egg in my opinion. A good egg player. Yeah,
and he's got a dog.
He has got a really good dog. A really really cute dog.
I think Bear is his name.
It is something animal related.
Bear.
I follow him on Instagram. Oh, who doesn't? Yeah.
Well, he is a good boy. You're not wrong about that. He's a good old boy. Player, I have to disagree, but only because I've seen him, minus his one incredible season in 2018-2019 season. So, like, it's incredible for a defenseman, 59 points, I think.
Yeah. He's a solid player. He's not like, superstar, all-star material, but he's always just been consistently there, if that makes sense. He plays on the ice. He's there.
He plays him. Hockey.
You notice him. He's not just like in the background of the games. He's not just, twiddling his thumbs at the net or whatever, He tries. He gets a gold star.
He tries. His blue line clappers,
Yeah.
Okay. A team that you aren't too fond of. Who's your favorite player?
The team I'm not too fond of is the Wild, just because of the rivalry between the Avs and like the serious banter that I've had with the Avs. So the player on the Wild I have to go with is Parise. Number 11 there. He's been on the team for quite a while now. He's a homeboy.
Yeah.
He is a homeboy. He's another Marlowe in that sense. He's from Minnesota.
He's 36.
Well, he's not like old as Marlowe, but he
started in New Jersey as well.
He's a Minnesotan boy. Yeah.
He did start in New Jersey.
And he
that's
came
true.
home.
That is true as well.
Yeah.
You're all right.
And he helped New Jersey win its first Stanley Cup. Well, its first Stanley Cup appearance since 2003. So you've got to give it. He's a solid player. Again, he's nothing like an all-star player, but he's always there. He's always making the plays that need to be played. He's not going to be like getting them pucks in deep constantly, but he's a respectable player.
And y'all are picking Lady Bing people, aren't you?
I guess we are. My days.
You like your good noodles.
Yeah.
You like your good boys. Also interesting, his dad played in the NHL in the 70s. And they're of French-Canadian heritage. That's why I actually used to call him Zach Parise all the time.
His name is Zach.
I think his dad's name is like Parise, and Zach will be Parise. So a little bit of a generational switch there. Generational. Yeah.
A dynasty. Wait, what do Americans say? A dynasty? There we go.
A dynasty. That is correct.
You say correct, but is it? Anyway. Do you have any honorable mentions to go along with your picks?
I have an honorable mention. Honorable mention here. Again, I'm sorry, it's another former Av who's now retired. Alex Tanguay, number 40. He's been part of...
Who?
Alex Tanguay.
Oh, okay.
Yes, part of Colorado since 98. Helped win in, 2001? He scored the game-winning goal for the Stanley Cup final. So he's a, pretty big deal. he was one of the players, like, when I first started watching hockey, he was always on the ice, always getting mentioned for doing, like, amazing plays. Then he also played for the Canadiens, Tampa Bay, Calgary, back to Colorado, and then I think he retired in 2016-17 season. But he's just a good player again, another good egg.
Just like our good eggs.
Yeah, I just like my good egg players. I mean, you guys can look him up if you want. I think he's just been a big name for the Avs, really, because he made such a difference, like, in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my honorable mention. Yeah.
And for people listening, you know, I feel like a lot of people pick their favorite players based solely on stats, but it's very interesting that we're all choosing personalities, you know?
Yeah.
With good stats, they just happen to come with them. But you know what I mean? I feel like that's really good. We have more of a personal connection to these guys.
What I thought favorite was.
No, honestly, there was a whole Twitter argument about this just the other day, so that's why I'm mentioning it now.
Oh my gosh, are we gonna make waves? Be controversial?
We're gonna be controversial.
What do you mean nice
Yes.
people are our
Okay.
favourite players? What is this?
You know, I mean, everyone seems to be picking Lady Bing people.
I mean, my favorite is obviously Ryan Reeves.
Ryan Reeves, he's the goodest of all good boys.
We're
goodest.
stopping this conversation right here.
Just kidding. Goon was written about him.
And they had to tone it down.
On to you, Chanel. Let's move on to
We don't want to trigger
Chanel, tell
let's
us.
move on.
Okay.
I think I can guess Chanel's favorite players just because I know her. So
I make it very obvious.
let's see.
But you don't know my honorable mention.
I
maybe.
know. So who's your husband?
My husband is the Danish prince, Frederick Andersen. You know, I love him so much. No one could talk shit about him because this is the only guy I will fight about on Twitter. Even if he like so blatantly let in like 10 goals, I'll be like, I didn't see it.
Point me in the direction because it didn't happen.
Because what I saw was a defensive flub, but you know, whatever. Anyways, that's my guy. You know I love Frederick Andersen. I won't go too much into it. I'll just say that it is interesting because my second favorite team is Carolina, and Freddie was indeed picked up by Carolina in 2010.
I did not.
But here's the thing. See, it is interesting because not much to note really. He didn't sign. He ended up not signing.
Oh,
So he was redrafted. Interesting, right?
very.
He was redrafted in 2012 by the Ducks, and we know that's what most people know where he got to start. He would see ice in 2013.
Wah.
And I'm gonna also say that all of my picks, except for one, are goalies because I told you before I am a goalie girl. That is actually something I wanted to do when I was younger, but it's expensive, guys. It's real expensive. So
she liked the thick boys.
I like the thick boys. They got their thick thighs and their blue eyes.
And they're flexible.
And they're very flexible. Oh my god. Never mind. When they're stretching on the ice.
They're just like, let me just get my leg up here. Oh, yeah.
Great visual content for an audio podcast.
Exactly.
Do you want me to explain what I'm doing?
Molly
I'm
now
my leg.
puts her leg above her head. Oh my god. Imitating a goalie. Anyways, moving on. He did win his first ever game, or was it playoff game? I don't remember. Anyways, Andersen won his first playoff game, and you know, he was a Duck, but then he got traded in 2016 to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he signed a 5-year, $5 million contract. We all know that this is his contract year. He will be a UFA, and he's gonna stay. I don't care what anyone says. He's staying. That's my boy. He's going to stay. I could see him he could have been traded on the off season, but now it's not looking like that. Okay. And if you want to know a little fun fact, he likes yoga. Of course he likes yoga.
He's flexible.
And beets.
Like,
he likes beets.
Like beetroot. Beetroot.
Like beetroot. And I'm sure he likes beets like BEATS. He likes Coldplay. I'm the one with the weird facts. And another thing, the last thing I'm going to say really is that his entire freaking family played hockey. Like everyone. His mom, his sister, his 2 brothers, his dad. They like hockey. And I'm going to marry him. Next. Okay, so what was the next question?
Next one is a favorite player who is not on your favorite team. So your favorite player who is not a Leaf.
Well, we just talked about my husband, but now let's talk about my boyfriend, Sebastian Aho. Love him.
I mean, should we do the shout outs for the
Do you-
Aho at the moment?
Yeah, do you have
while
the
we're
people?
On Aho? On YouTube, we had one person go Aho and someone go PS Aho. But
You're right.
Yeah.
Not the phrase we chose, but we will let it slide,
that's
right?
okay because they were men and we get it. Only manly men will admit
get
that
it.
they're Aho for Aho.
Just accept it, men.
Jeremy
Well
has.
then, I've got it.
think
I've got it
I've-
right here. Shout out.
I've had to accept it being on this podcast. It's all right.
Oh my god. Okay, shout out to Drew. Thank you, Drew, for listening to the entire podcast. You're a real one, Drew. And we also have Mathieu Mallet. Mathieu listened to the entire video as well. Thank you very much for doing that. And last, we have Fish Lips. Guys, Fish Lips would be my dad. I have to shout out my dad because he listened to my
Fish Lips.
podcast.
Daddy Chanel.
He is our biggest fan, guys. You know, he listened to the podcast and he kept giving me updates. He already likes you both, so that's always a good news. And he's a Leafs fan, so shout out to Daddy Chanel.
Fish Lips.
Fish Lips. All right, moving on now.
So why is Aho your favorite player who is not a Leaf?
Okay, so I started I started paying more attention to the league overall, and I know I'm a little late, but around the 2016-2017 season. And I noticed this name kept popping up on all of the stats, Sebastian Aho. So I was intrigued naturally, and he's the only person in the league who I am attracted to. See, not all girls are just interested for looks. But Aho is that's the guy for me. I like scrawny, tall boys.
Once you can snap.
Once you could just okay. I started seeing him a lot, and when he played actually in the All-Star game, that's when I was like, okay, I really like him because he's reminding me a lot of Mitch Marner in the sense that besides looks, that's hilarious, but what the heck? I have a type apparently. No, the way he plays, I like the way he plays specifically. I feel like he's very creative and quick, and he gets goals, he gets assists. I really like the way he plays, and he's doing a really good job. He's just like McKinnon. I feel like he's moving up for how he improves. He's always improving every season, and that shows with the Canes in general. The Canes are moving up, and
No.
The interesting thing about Aho, and I didn't know how I felt about this, but you remember when he accepted that offer sheet from the Habs? So the Habs offered him, I think it was 5 years for 8.5 mil, and Aho took it because I think he was forcing the Canes to sign him immediately as to not lead him on, So he got what he wished for, and now he's got that nice contract. Lastly, he has the cutest accent. He calls Justin Williams daddy. He likes hamburgers. He's messy. And Teravainen, is his best friend.
And he looked at you in the eyeballs.
When I said I loved him. Like, he saw me mouth, I love you.
He actually did.
He did. I'm embarrassed. It's so embarrassing. Hey, he was already skating, okay? He was already skating.
On a team that you don't necessarily love, but you don't necessarily agree with, a respectable individual on that.
This is actually going to get me, I'm going to lose a bunch of followers for this, but I don't hate the Habs. So it was a perfect way to introduce this question because I do respect the Habs as a whole, oddly. Because, again, my uncle My uncle liked the Habs, and he passed away. So I just respect the team. Now, Carey Price, y'all. What did I say? I'm a goalie girl. Carey Price is
Called it.
He's the best. When I say I hate the Habs, I never ever. Well, I don't hate the Habs. When I say I don't like the Habs, I never ever mean Price ever. Okay. In my opinion, and maybe some people will disagree, I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he'll be a Hall of Famer even though he has not won a cup yet, and hopefully not this season, He's always been with the Habs. He's just so good. I would say actually his start was very rocky. He was up and down, up and down. In fact, this is interesting to me. In the 2009 playoff, the crowd railed into Price. I mean, a lot of people are already going to know the story, but at the Bell Center, fans sarcastically cheered for Price when he stopped a weak goal. And what he did was crazy, hilarious in my opinion. He threw his hands up in the air, just like Patrick Roy did famously in 1995. I just turned really French there. Anyways, after Roy did that, he then requested for a trade. So people were probably like, we're going to lose Carey Price. But whatever, he signed and things were good. And he's just amazing. After that, I mean, he didn't have a great season after that, but then after that, he really just picked it up. He's one of the best goalies in the league. He is the best goalie in the league. I don't care what anyone says.
Agree.
Okay?
Agree.
Sweetheart. He's also a sweetheart. In the 2015 season, he was the leader in all three main categories, wins, save percentage, goals against average. It was insane. He had like a 9.33 by the end of the season. And he won the Hart and Vezina and the Ted Lindsay. And he tied for the Jennings. He's just a good guy. He's a good guy. And he has Indigenous heritage. He's very proud of that. And I like how he likes to speak up about that. Very good. Sweetie pie. But he gets injured a lot, but we'll ignore that.
I'll insert myself in here.
Yes.
Because he's a good guy off the ice.
Yeah, he is.
He does a hell of a lot of charity work.
He likes to hug people.
He does. I want a hug from Carey Price.
I want a hug from Carey Price.
When it's okay, can you come hug us? Thank you.
Please, Carey. Like he's listening.
Can you imagine?
Everyone tag Carey Price.
At Carey Price.
Tag them all. Love us.
Tag them all.
Please.
And your honorable mention, my dear.
Okay. This is funny. I think you guys will like this story if you don't know. But anyways, this is my all-time favorite player forever alive, off the team, on the team. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying. He's my favorite player of all time. And that would be Huberto Luongo. Lou. 41 years old, Quebec, Italian-Irish background. He has played 19 seasons, second in all-time games played, third in all-time wins. He's amazing. Okay, so let's talk about him for a quick second, and then I'll stop talking, I promise. He was a special kid. When he was growing up, he really wanted to play hockey, but his parents wanted him to play soccer.
Another reason we don't like soccer.
We don't, because, it's pushed upon people. Push! But he liked hockey, so he asked his parents, can I play hockey or not? And they said, fine, but only as a forward, because I want you to know how to shoot and play the actual game. And he said, fine. Then one day, the goalie didn't show up at the Pee-wees, so guess who got to go into net? Lou! And everyone was shocked because he got a shutout. So obviously this kid was born to play as a goalie, right? After that, he tore it up in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And he was amazing. There's so many funny stories about this guy, okay? He was hospitalized, took a puck to the throat, went to the ICU because people were scared his windpipe would close. He was discharged on game day and then went to the freaking game. And again, a shutout. And 2007 playoffs, they lost, unfortunately. But they went to overtime, and Lou missed the first 3 minutes because he had untimely diarrhea. He's a funny guy. And he's not ashamed of any of these stories. Like, he's such a good, awesome boy. And when he retired, I did cry. But I do have to say, he's my real boy. He's my boy, And the last thing I'm going to say about him is I really fell in love with him at the 2014 Olympics, where we won gold with Crosby winning the game by
winning goal. Yes.
It's getting near the end of the podcast, and I am I forgot how to word things. Anyway,
How
words,
does one speak?
Question mark. I know everyone listening is going to be so embarrassed for me, but anyways, I love him. And he was captain, by the way. And, you know, goalies aren't really allowed to be captain, so he rescinded, but I think he deserved it.
So hopefully you know a little bit more about us, our favourite players, why we like hockey, why there's a couple of British people involved in this whole podcast thing. And of course, you know, Chanel, she's our typical Canadian. I say typical, she's very special to me, you know. We love her. But I actually haven't mentioned one thing, and that is I actually don't live in the UK. I indeed live in France. So we're in 3 different time zones. So recording this is fun. Thank you for reaching this far of the podcast. We really appreciate you guys listening. So feel free to hit that subscribe button wherever you are listening to your podcast from. If it's on YouTube, Spotify, I don't know other platforms for Apple Music. There we go. Jeremy will fill in the rest.
Yeah, they're on most of them. I've loaded them up on most platforms. If it's still not appearing on something that you listen to, just drop it on my Twitter feed and I'll update it as soon as I can.
You want to follow us? We haven't got a hockey podcast overall Twitter yet, but you can follow us individually. So you can follow myself here. I'm Molly, by the way. It's just _Molly. You can follow Chanel
at Chanel LV.
And you can follow Jeremy
at JWalker Media and twitch.tv/Jeremy_Walker.
Guess that's us for this week. We'll see you. Well, we won't see you. We'll hear from you, hopefully, and you'll hear from us next week. Stay safe, guys.